In today's episode, we're taking a look at standout mods from May 2022. You can find links to all of the mods shown in this video below, so let's get into it. Starting out, we have Havasu Blues, a DLC-sized expansion by KungKobra and Akarion. After a treasure hunt takes a turn for the worse, you find yourself injured and without your gear in the irradiated waste of western Arizona. Attempting to recover your gear mixes you up in the main quest line, and brings you through several large, impressively detailed world spaces. The scope of this mod is extremely impressive, spanning multiple well-designed settlements, dungeons, and secondary locations. On top of a lengthy main storyline involving both the NCR and Legion, there's also a plethora of varied side quests that range from being a bounty hunter to helping the locals find more ammunition and getting an old hotel back into working order. It also features a cast of well over 60 voice actors, and I actually voiced one of the minor characters. The scale of this mod is even more impressive considering it was mostly made by a single person, but KungKobra is also one of New Vegas's most legendary speedrunners, so perhaps I shouldn't be surprised. This is the kind of mod that makes it worth coming back to New Vegas all these years later, and I highly recommend it.
Oh, the confidence! Indeed, I do. Hopefully you prove as worthy an opponent as the airs you put on.
Our second mod today is a small quest called the High Roller by RadioactiveLad. After installing it, you'll find an annoying little man in the Ultralux who challenges you to a series of high-stake games of Caravan. Each game becomes progressively more difficult, and I had a fun time playing against his decks. It's not often you see Caravan-based releases, and I'm a big fan. If you understand how to play Caravan, have a good set of cards and a lot of caps to burn, then you should check this one out. Now we're looking at Valley of the Trappers by Logsl. North of Goodsprings, you can discover a cave that leads to an entirely new world space, the Valley of the Trappers. The valley has around 40 new locations to visit, and the world is well made, though it is sparsely populated. It's still pretty early in development with unvoiced NPCs and only a single quest, so I'm not sure I'd recommend it in its current state, but it's definitely worth keeping an eye on to see how it improves in the future. Brayduck released No Sleep Till Goodsprings, an amazing, complete overhaul of Goodsprings. Every building in the town has been replaced with a new model, giving the settlement a unique, distinct look. The interiors of every single building have been reworked as well, with new props and models that feel like a breath of fresh air. Other aspects of Goodsprings have seen more drastic transformations, like the schoolhouse being altered into a destroyed community center that houses an abandoned bomb shelter. The citizens even have new AI packages that makes them travel around the town, visit the saloon, etc. The attention to detail here is truly fantastic, and this is easily one of the best overhauls I've seen of a vanilla location. Next up is Redesigned Quarries by Spiffyskytrooper and Balebandro, a mod that visually rehauls Quarry Junction and other limestone areas found throughout the world. This is one of the most beautiful overhauls I've seen, and it makes the original textures seem bland in comparison. You will need to regenerate LOD, but it's worth it for textures that look this good. Now we're looking at two small mods by JK Babarossa. The first is Novac Reopened, which adds interiors for once blocked off rooms at the Novac Motel. Rooms where you can fight junkies, steal stuff, and most importantly die. It's cool to see inaccessible areas like this given new life, and each of the rooms is well made. His next mod, Silver Rush Expanded, adds clutter and guards to the second floor exterior of the Silver Rush. This is a small but very welcome change to an area that was originally somewhat underwhelming. Our next mod is New Vegas Quick Start by RoyBatty, a mod that skips the intro cinematic, the majority of Doc Mitchell's dialogue, and spawns you right outside the door to exit into Goodsprings. This is the fastest quick start mod I've ever used, and if you've played through the intro sequence countless times, then this is an essential mod that should take a permanent spot in your load order. RoyBatty also released Root and Loot FNV, a mod that transforms static objects into their container versions. In other words, static objects like desks, trash cans, vending machines, briefcases, and crates that originally couldn't be interacted with can now be looted. I'm not sure how much this extra loot affects the economy of the base game, but it's a cool idea that makes exploring less frustrating. Hud Caps for FNV by modder Nehred adds the caps animation from Fallout 76 into New Vegas. Every time you pick up caps, you get this really satisfying animation and sound. We have two notable cut content mods this month, and the first is Dialogue Topics Restored by Panzermann. Every core game and DLC companion has an unused topic called Followers Acknowledge Order, lines that were meant to generally acknowledge the player's command, and this mod restores these lines for the first time ever. It also fixes a bug that causes companion dialogue about stim pack usage to not play in hardcore mode. Even further, it restores some additional unused lines that should have played when a companion used a doctor's bag. It's worth noting that you will need the GIP Companion Command and Control mod for this, but it's awesome to see this lost dialogue finally restored. Moving on, we have the Strip Southgate by Elroy 7, a mod that restores the Strip's cut Southgate. This gate is placed near NCR Embassy on the Strip and exits near Camp McCarran. This is a very convenient mod that fixes the Strip's issue of only having a single entrance. We also have our first radio mod in this video series, Mysterious Radio Expanded by Ashton LP, which adds nearly 15 new songs to the Mysterious Radio broadcast in Old World Blues. These smooth jazz songs fit well into the overall vibe of the existing songs, and add some much needed variety while exploring the Big Empty. It even fixes a bug that caused Vera Key's song Begin Again to not play on the station. We're moving on to weapon/combat mods now, and our first is Better GRX by Hopper31, which reworks the GRX implant perk. Using the implant now slows down time while draining AP, resulting in some awesome bullet time shenanigans. This is a fun improvement on an existing perk, and I had a great time playing around with it. Modder Hitman continues his consistent presence on the forefront of FNV modding once again, this time releasing awesome new animations for the battle rifle, hunting revolver, riot shotgun, and 12.7mm submachine gun. As per usual, each of these is incredible and adds some much needed flair to New Vegas's aging animations. There's also Arcing Arc Welder by Hitman and Hopper31, a mod that adds new animations for Lonesome Road's Arc Welder. Along with new animations, it now deals more damage and the lightning arcs to multiple enemies, making it feel much more unique than it does in the base game. Rockbiter 68 is also back again this month with new animations for the Minigun and Caravan shotgun. Both are great, but the Minigun is particularly well done, and for me, it's the definitive animation pack for the weapon. His work is consistently impressive, and I highly recommend checking out these mods as well as his previous work. Our next mod by Bannana Suicide adds new animations for an existing weapon mod, the Browning 1885 High Wall Rifle by DeRuiter. The problem with many weapon mods is that they're often wildly unbalanced, but thankfully Sweet 6 Shooter also released a mod that balances the rifle as a mid-tier weapon and integrates it into the base game. Having to download 3 separate mods for a single weapon isn't ideal, but the model and animations are undoubtedly great. Anon X is back again this month with beautiful retextures for that gun, the 5.56 pistol, and Gauss rifle. These 4K textures look incredible and are easily the best reworks of these weapons that I've ever seen. Modder AshJ101 released his pistol whipping mod, allowing you to switch between shooting and melee attacks with the 45 auto pistol at the press of a button. This is a mod that I've wanted ever since I saw Joshua Graham pistol whip a tribal, and it's a great little addition. Our last combat mod this month is Extreme Staggering by Psycor Games. This adds in new dramatic staggering animations when NPCs are attacked. These ragdoll animations are totally over the top, to the point where some of them fondly remind me of GoldenEye on the N64, but they do make weapons feel more powerful, and it's definitely a fun option to consider. Nearing the end of this list, we have Water Walking Footsteps Fix by Baberossa. There's a dedicated sound file for walking in water, but due to a bug the sound never plays normally, and the running in water sound plays instead. This mod fixes that, and it's awesome to see little oversights like this get patched up. Have you ever noticed how janky the hazmat suit from Old World Blues is? I hadn't, but Hazmat's suit sleeve and glove fix by Bunslinger fixes its glaring clipping issues, and it's nice to see this asset get some well-deserved love. Our last mod today is Cowboy Victor, a mod by Hitman that gives Victor a variety of cowboy hats that amusingly spin around. That's all for this episode. As always, let me know if I missed any great mods from the past month, and if you liked any of the mods shown throughout this video, be sure to give them an endorsement. Thank you so much for watching and have an awesome day.